look at the last two lessons, musical words and symbols, on page 51 to the last lesson about analysis until page 57. So make sure you study all of the musical words and symbols that you learned for grade 1 and 2 in your previous years, in addition to what you have been given on the workbook. So we have articulation marks, expression marks. So in this grade, for grade 3, we need to know some more extra words. So you can see dolce means sweetly, leggero means lightly, marziale means march like, tranquillo means calmly, and vivo means lively. As you know, articulation marks means accents, slurs and staccatos or tenutos, whatever the effects that we need to add on your notes. And expression marks means it's the feel that you want to add to the music. We learned in grade 2 how to write a down bow and an up bow. Just remember, these apply only for string instruments. And then we have tempo marks. So make sure you study these. And let's take a look at the next lesson and work out the exercises on analysis. So the first example is given to us. So let's go to question number 2 on page 54. Look at the following piece and answer the question on the opposite page. Let's take a look at the first question. They're asking, in which key is this piece? So the things that you need to check here is your key signature and the last note. You can see that we have the key signature of F major and the last note. So make sure you check the bass note, because that's where we write the chord. And sometimes the melody note will also be ending on the tonic, but it can also be a part of the tonic triad. So in this case, this is a because we have the root always ending on the tonics. So we are ending on a F chord. So the key of this piece is an F major. So let's write the answer. Then on the second question, they're asking what note is the tonic in this piece. Just write the note F. And third question, what note is the dominant in this piece? So you know the dominant note means the fifth note of the scale, F, G, A, B, C. So the dominant note is a C. Next, write a chord symbol above all the bars where the music has a chord built on the tonic. So you need to find all the tonic triads in this music and write a chord symbol above it. As you know, this is in the key of F major. So your tonic chord in the key of F major will be an F major chord. So we need to find the F major chords in the bass line, and let's write them down. Generally, your lowest note will be the root of the chord. As you can see on all of these bars, we are playing an interval of fifth from F to C. So these two notes belong to the tonic triad of F major, F, A, C. Only the A is missing. So we can think of this as an F chord. So you can see all of these bars, we have the same F chord up to bar 6. And we are moving to a different harmony, which is a G chord and a C. So we need to place these chord symbols above the music. And next part, we have some other melody. You can see the bass line is moving from E, C, G, E, C, G, G. So it's targeting a lot of G's and it's playing around G and C. So we don't have an F chord here. And from bar 13 onwards, you can see we are coming back to the F chord in the bass clef. If you look at the bottom note, we have F and C all the way up to the end. Okay, so I've written out my chord symbols. Let's take a look at question 5. On which degree of the scale does the music arrive in bar 8? And they have given in brackets a dotted minim. We have a dotted minim on bar 8. and they are both C's. So C is the fifth note of the scale. We need to write the technical name of it. Let's take a look at question 6. Look at the boxed notes in bar 8 and 9 and compare the pitch. The notes are boxed in the bass clef and the treble clef. So we need to compare the first box with the second box. So here's box 2. This is box number 1, which continues here. So in the first box we have E, C and G notes, and in the second box also we have E, C and G. But are they the same keys that you need to play? No, because if you compare this with the middle C, this E is way below middle C, and here in the treble clef we are playing the E that is above the middle C. So this middle C is not the same C as the one in the box 1. This is 1 octave below from the middle C. So you can write the notes in the treble clef are written an octave lower in the bass clef. So next we have look at the beats 2 and 3 in bar 11. Does the music move in similar or contrary motion? Let's take a look at bar 11, beats 2 and 3. So here is my bar 11, beat 2 and 3. So your time signature is 4/4 time, and here is your beat 2. We have 2 quavers, and the 3 is a crotchet. The treble clef melody is moving step by step upwards, and the bass clef is also moving step by step upwards. So we can write it's moving in similar motion. Let's take a look at number 8. Name the interval between two notes marked with asterisks in bar 14. You can see it's an F moving up to a D. So what is the interval between F and D in the scale of F major? It's an interval of major sixth, F, G, A, B, C, D. So we need to write the type of the interval. If you count the steps up, you can have 9 semitones for a major sixth. Since this is a major scale of F major, I know a major scale will always have a major sixth from the scale degrees. Next we have, why are there only 3 beats in bar 20 even though the time signature for the piece is common time? Let's take a look at bar 20, which means the last bar. We have a dotted minim, but your time signature is 4/4 time. But do you see we are starting with an anacrusis here? We have 2 quavers. So this means that the missing beat at the end of bar 20 is added as the anacrusis or the downbeat. So the actual start of this piece starts on the next bar. You can also see that bar number 1 is added here. So you can write in your answer that this piece starts with a downbeat or an anacrusis on the last beat of bar 20. Okay, so make sure you write in your own words. So let's take a look at question 10. Next we have how many times is bar 1 repeated in this piece? Let's take a look at bar 1. So we have A, F, G, B. And they're asking how many times is this bar repeated. I can see it on bar 5, it's repeated, and bar 13 it's repeated again, and then bar 17 it's repeated again. So it's repeated 4 times if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's move on to the next. Write the sign of marcato that the composer uses in this piece and explain what it means. As you know, marcato means a sign of accent. We write it above the note. So we need to write it here and you need to write a note. You can write a crotchet or a minim and then show how we need to write it. So it's like a V, like a hood above the head of the note. So this is a marcato, which means an accent. It's an articulation mark. Right. Let's go to number 12. Name the pitch of the last note of this piece in the treble part. The last note is a A. And what does allegretto means? If you can remember, on grade 2, page 48, we learned the meaning of allegretto. It means quite fast. So number 14 we have, in which bar should the player begin to slow down a little? And here we have the word poco rit. So RIT means short for ritenuto, which means slow down or gradually slow down. So you know the meaning of poco means little. So we need to write which bar you see this. So let's write bar 11. Okay, and the last question, what does a tempo in bar 12 mean? So you can see on bar 11 we are going to slow down a bit, and then bar 12, at the end of this part we need to come back onto your actual tempo. So here that's why they have written a tempo, which means you need to play in time. So let's write in time. Okay, let's move on to the third question. Check number 1. In which key is this piece? So the last note is G, and you have the key signature of B flat major, which means we are in the key of G minor. And what note is the leading note in this piece? A leading note means the 7th note of the scale. So in G minor scale, the 7th note is raised, which means we need to write F sharp. Next we have, write a chord symbol above the last chord of this piece to show that the tonic triad accompanies the tune here. So we can write G because it's in the G minor. We need to have the tonic triad as a minor. Then we need to write a chord symbol for the next question above the last dotted crotchet beat in bar 15 to show that the dominant chord accompanies the tune here. So we need to write a chord symbol above the dominant chord. You can see in the bass clef the harmony moves into 2 chords here, so we need to find which chord is the dominant of G minor. So the dominant triad is starting on a D, so you will have the D, F sharp and A as your 5 chord. So here we can see there's a D, F sharp and a A. So this is going to be your 5 chord. Okay, so we can write a capital D above it. Okay, let's move on to the next. Number 5. Looking at the chord progression you have written by doing question 3 and 4, name the type of cadence that ends this piece. So we learned in grade 3 that if you have the ending of the 5 chord moving to the 1 chord of any scale, whether it's a major or a minor, it will be called a perfect cadence. So we can write the name of it. Next we have, how many notes higher or lower is the sequence in bar 9 to 10 repeated? Check the treble clef part from bar 9 to 10. Here we have a sequence of D moving down to B, and the whole thing is shifted down a tone below to C to A. So they are asking how many notes higher or lower is the sequence in bar 9 to 10 repeated. So you can see it's moving down a tone from D to C. Check the starting note of each bar. So you can write it's moving 2 semitones down. Is the sequence in bar 9 and 10 real or tonal? So if you take bar 9, the note is moving from D to B flat. Just remember there's a key signature. So from D to B flat down is a major third, and next on bar 10 we are moving from C to A, which is a minor third. So it's not the same type of interval here, although they are thirds. So this one's a tonal sequence. But if it was the same type of interval, then you can write as a real sequence. Okay, so make sure you revise on your previous lessons if you have forgotten them. Alright, so next we have name the interval between two notes marked with asterisks in bar 5 to 6. From D to B flat we have 8 semitones apart. So this one's going to be a minor sixth because we are in a minor scale. Next we have how many phrases make up this piece. Now if you can remember, a phrase means a musical sentence. So you can easily find them out by the slurs that are marked here. You can see the whole first line, which is 4 bars, are marked with one slur, and the next 4 bars in the second line are also marked with a slur, and all of these phrases are marked with 4 bars distance. So it's a musical section or a piece that you can stop, and it won't sound awkward if you stop in the middle after this slur. So it's a section. So this piece is created by 4 sections or 4 phrases. So we can just write the number here. And number 10, why do the phrases begin on the last quiver of the bar? So you can see the phrase is marked with the anacrusis up to this tied note here. And you can see all of these phrases have some sort of an anacrusis, but we don't call it an anacrusis. See, the next phrase also starts from the quiver, just to make sense to your ears that they are going to take note of this anacrusis and repeat it on all of these phrases. It's because the melody starts with an anacrusis. And the composer has decided to start with the last quiver of the second beat on all of these phrases. Okay, so it's a rhythm that will make sense to your ears. Let's take a look at number 11. Which phrases end with a 5 to 1 chord progression? As you know, the 5 to 1 will be called a perfect cadence, so most probably you will see them at the end of your phrase. So you can take this cadence from D, F sharp to A chord, which is the 5 chord of G minor, moving to G. From bar 7 to 8 also we have the same cadence along with the same notes, moving from 5 chord to 1. And the next phrase, it's different because we are ending on the 5 chord here and it's not a perfect cadence. And the last part, we found this on our previous question, that we also have a perfect cadence here. So we can write the numbers of the phrases, phrase 1, 2 and 4. Then on question 12, which phrase ends on the dominant chord? We just found out that on our third phrase we are going to end on the dominant chord here. So we can write phrase number 3. What does crescendo means? It's gradually getting louder. So if you don't remember your previous terms and signs, make sure you go back and learn them and study. So by now you should know these things. Then number 14, is this piece in simple or compound time signature? Let's take the time signature. We have 6/8 time. That means 2 dotted crotchet beats in a bar. So we can write it's compound time. And the last question, what does leggero mean? So leggero means lightly. So that's it for this week. I'll see you next time.